So, as you're, I assume, aware, tonight's is more of a development time for us. Your district has done an admirable job over the last couple of years of planning and resourcing time so that current board members are thinking about how to be as productive as possible. So this is about the how. So tonight is not about topics and decisions and all those kind of things. It's really just about reflecting on and identifying those things that you think would make this as highly productive of a board as possible. Okay? And the last time that your district did this, I think there were 3 of you in this room who participated in that exercise. That was Sam, Craig, and Dan. And so over the summers, as I talked to Jared and Craig, the conclusion was we have basically a new board, right? And so we want to make sure that this board is aligned on many things, including how they wish to function when they're together doing your business of a board. So tonight, our focus will be on identifying those behaviors and processes that you believe, if practiced by everyone, will contribute to higher quality discussions and decisions so that all students will reach their full potential. And in preparation for that, you were given access or had access to examples of how some other school districts have done this, how they've responded to that question. And we provided those on my recommendation, not because we were saying this is what you should do, but it just helps you to think about what kind of things might qualify or come to you as being important things to do. So that's our exercise tonight. Right? But before we get to that, let's do some introductions. Anything you'd like to say about yourself that you think others might be interested in, or you just are interested in saying. I think a key question to incorporate into this is why? Why are you serving on the Board of Education of the Watertown School District? What is your why? It doesn't have to be a 10-minute treatise on this, but it's just a way of you expressing a little bit about why you chose to run, why you chose choosing to serve on the board. So that'll be part of the introductions. How's that? Good? All right. First big decision. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Great. Thank you. And Tammy, you can hand it off to whatever direction you'd like.
Oh,
Okay.
like hot potato, okay. My name is Tammy Fournier. Why I am on the school board, I guess I had a history that started back in 2020 that led me to become a parental rights advocate, that led me in the direction of looking into education. So based on the research that I did, I decided that I could probably be the most effective locally by running for local school board.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a mother of 4, I'm married, I work for the state of Wisconsin. Outside of that, you know, my life is pretty much work and school board and being a mom, so maybe when one of those responsibilities go to wayside, I'll have a bit more hobbies to share.
Where are your kids in the process?
My oldest is 23, my second oldest is 22, and then my 2 youngest are 16 and 15.
Okay, so they're in high school.
Yes, here, in Watertown.
Right. And what do you do for the state of Wisconsin?
I work for unemployment insurance in the fraud department to investigate wage fraud claims for the state.
And did you born here, raised here, went to school
Yeah,
here?
I was born in Milwaukee, born and raised in Milwaukee, and then, my husband and I met and we moved out to like the Waukesha County area and eventually ended up in Watertown and Jefferson County in January of 2021. Sorry, you said to be brief, so I was.
We need you a chatty group.
All right, so I'm gonna send it off to Dan.
I knew you would. I'm Dan Boltner, and, I decided to run for school board when, after talking with former students and, other adults, saw that, there was a definite drop in what was going on after COVID. COVID really caused some problems. And, discipline was down from what I was hearing. And, there were a couple of episodes that, encouraged me to run. The second drag queen show in the park was the impetus to get me going, and, I met Sam. Well, I didn't meet him for the first time, but, it was a type thing that I just couldn't let happen in Watertown. So, I ran as a write-in candidate and lost. And then the next year, I was thinking I may not run, and a couple people called me and said I had to, so I did. But, you know, I wanted to change, since I taught here for a lot of years, I wanted to change it back to when I was teaching. So, that was the impetus for me running. I have, 3 children, 3 grown children, 9 grandchildren. And as Tammy mentioned, it's a balancing act trying to get to be with all of them and also do board responsibilities and that kind of thing.
And you used to teach here at the high school?
In that hall, right down that hall.
He was my daughter's teacher.
Yeah.
So she went here. He was my daughter's teacher.
Yep.
So he got a long history.
Yeah, there's a lot of skeletons buried around. Okay, I'm going to pick Craig.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I got involved in the school district, more actively involved probably about 6 years ago. I was concerned with the level of decision-making, that I was seeing coming out of the school district at that time. I was concerned with the district leadership overall, and, that's when, you know, my wife was working in my wife still works in the district, and, it hit close to home. Oftentimes reflect back and I think, what it would take to, help the Watertown district become a district where more parents would want to, feel comfortable sending their children. And we have a large population of parochial schools, and there's a lot of choices in town. And I feel like, the Watertown Unified School District is as good of a choice as any. And, I think I'd like to see, more parents feel comfortable sending kids to the district. But yeah, what else do we want to know?
Tell us about Craig Ward.
I have 2 kids, and, go to national parks and hike and do some of those and activities. And I probably don't do it to the level that you do it, you did it, or, but yeah, we enjoy seeing country. What else? I don't know, little business in town, so I get a chance to talk to a lot of people on a regular basis and get a lot of feedback from people on a regular basis every day. So I really enjoy that. It's not, I do what I do, not because I like the work, but because I like the people. And I like this community. I'd like to hear more from, more about David.
Okay.
Yeah.
David Handyside, and I've been in Watertown since 2000, so 25 years. All of those years working at Maranatha Baptist University, as most of you know. Not only serving student teachers, but the head of the education department and doing other things in education. And the reason I wanted to be on the board is because I had much encouragement. And let me tell you where all that came from. Actually, I'm going to go back further than Julie and Tanya and somebody else. On this board for years was a person, Mark Holland. Mark Holland was on this board for many, many years. He's in his 90s now. But I took his place basically when I came to Maranatha. And he used to send student teachers to the school in Illinois where I was principal. Christian school, and I got to meet him then, and he had talked to me about coming up here, and I just said no. Then I came up here because it was on ready to come. And he kept telling me over years, go to the same church, they've got to be in the school board sometime. And I really dismissed that. I mean, this school board. And but I was actually, the truth of the matter is, when all these openings came, and I wasn't thinking about this, being on this school board, I did pray and ask the Lord, what do you want me to do? I feel like there's something out there you want me to do. What is it going to be? The next thing I knew, these openings were here. And the next thing I knew, I had several people asking me to try to fill those openings. And I'll be honest with you, I've been telling my students for years in classes that as believers, we need to be concerned about all students in all schools, whether it's public, private, or wherever they are, concerned about how well they can do the best for them. And I thought, well, this is an opportunity to do that. And so I feel like God put me here because I answered that. That was the answer to the prayer right there. And Jillian, I talked to her, and I talked to some other people, and I got a lot of encouragement to do this, because I wasn't thinking of doing it. But then I felt very, I guess, driven, challenged to do this for the students here in Watertown. Dan had many student teachers from us, or several, and I appreciated his work with our students. And I've been in all the schools here a number of times, and I always felt like this was part of what I was serving, besides just serving at Maranatha. So, that's why I'm here.
Anything about you personally you want to share?
I have two children. My wife and I have a girl who was a teacher. She taught in Michigan for several years. She has three children. Just talked to our oldest granddaughter just before I came here, and she's starting on her master's work at East Carolina University after graduating from Furman. Guess what she's doing a fellowship in, or work? It's with teachers and the teaching methods they use and what effect that has on students. They're doing a big study. I told her today, I said, I want to know what comes out of that. I'd like to know what comes out of that. She's a really good student, and she takes this thing seriously, so that's interesting. I have a son that lives down in the St. Louis area. Our daughter, by the way, has 3 children, and our son has 2. They're all girls, and he leads a company called Phillips Lighting. It's all over the country, and he's the branch manager in St. Louis and also in Kansas City. So youngest granddaughter, or our daughter, is going into ninth grade. And then we have another one who just started college, from our daughter in, Florida. She's loving that. And, then our son has a daughter who graduated, almost graduated from college in music therapy. And another daughter who's gonna be a sophomore in high school. That's the family. Right? Anything else?
No, who else would you like to speak?
Let's see. Who do you want me to call on?
Well, one of your former students is the head basketball coach at Alabama.
I did not mention that. I know Natos, only because when I came to Maranatha, he was still working on his master's, and he came in to see me a couple times, he's a math teacher.
Yeah.
His dad's a good friend of mine, and yes, he's a basketball coach at Alabama.
I actually did have him in class.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he taught math at church.
I didn't teach math, I was in history of civ.
Okay. Are you volunteering, Julian?
I can volunteer.
I'll volunteer, go ahead, Julie.
So, Jelaine Appling, I don't even really know quite where to begin, except to say, first of all, in the early 2000s, I was aware that it was an election cycle where 3 board members should have been on the ballot for this board, and there were only 1 or 2. Nobody was stepping up. So I took a look at that. I was employed, I was working in Madison for a not-for-profit, and talking with people, they said, you know, it might be something you'd be interested in with your education background. So I came down to ESC, Lynn Liskins was there at the time. I stood at the desk and I said, on the day of the last day you could file, and I said, if nobody else comes in, I'm signing up, but I'm not gonna campaign. And as it turned out, that's when Dennis Rambo and I think Dennis and I were both just latecomers on there. Dennis served on the board for a long, long time. And so we ran, the 3 of us ran unopposed that cycle. The next term around, we did have some competition, and I served 2 of the 3 years, that second term, and that was like 2005. But you heard me say I was living in Watertown and going to Madison every day, and there were things going on related to my work that needed more attention than I could give even if I didn't do board work. And in those days, we had way more than 4 committees. And the committee meetings were often in the afternoon, like 3 o'clock. So I was leaving Madison and tearing back to Watertown to try to make a meeting, and I wasn't feeling like I was doing justice to anybody or anything. And somebody asked me the question at that time as I was thinking about it, which of those things can only you do? And I knew exactly what the answer was, and that was I needed to be very, very present in Madison running these organizations at that time, and that was 2005, 2006. So I stepped down 1 year short of my full second-year term. So it's been 20 years since I served on the board. I had absolutely zero intention of doing this again. I stepped down almost 2 years ago I'm president emeritus of 2 not-for-profits and I'm still employed by them, but in a much diminished capacity as far as my workload. And because I was in Madison for so long every day, and I wasn't keeping up on where I lived. I just didn't have the capacity to do it with the kinds of things I was involved with. And so I hadn't paid as close of attention as I should have, but things started really percolating along last November. Some things that were going on here in our community and with the school district. And so I reconnected and started getting more involved. And when one of the resignations happened in early June, to be honest, I was asked to throw my name in the hat. And my first reaction is, you must be kidding. I know what's going on. And I debated long and hard about it. And I ultimately believed it was the right thing for me to do. I have a background in education. Similar to Dave's, we were both administrators in private schools in other states. And I did teach at Maranatha for a number of years. I was very much cross-discipline. I taught English and history and business and education courses. And from time to time worked with student teachers, saw them, I did methods courses and worked with student teachers out in the field. And that's my heart. My heart really is about education. And I love the whole process of education. I love the interaction with young people and understanding that we can impact an entire generation because we're involved in this incredible opportunity. So, when the body, part of the body that's here now, when the time came for the choice to be made of who's gonna fill that vacancy, they very kindly chose me, and I'm honored to do it. I'm doing everything I can to catch up. It's a big learning curve still, but, that's my story.
Before we continue, I just wanna make the board aware that, members of the public may be able to record this particular meeting, yes, per their state statute, right? So, just be aware. You have a right to record, and, then not that would change anything that you would say.
Is that directed at me?
No, just letting you know.
Don't say anything mean to me this time, Carl. You're always saying mean things to me, man.
I'd like to add one thing though to that. One of the main reasons that I did this was that I do believe that Watertown is positioned to become a premier school district. I think we have work to do, and we have to dedicate ourselves to that. There's a lot of areas in which we can improve, but there are already good things happening here. And, it's an honor to be a part